The squat is hands down the king of the lower body. Almost no other exercise will be able to hit your legs in its entirety than a squat variation. The only question is, which version should you do? Should you do high bar or low bar squatting? Should you do back squats or front squats? What on earth is a Zercher squat? Well, these are the questions that we're going to be answering today. G'day everyone, and welcome back to PowerSex Fitness, helping you build your body to both look and perform at its best. In today's video, we're going to be looking over all the major squat variations and determining which ones are best for your training goals. The variations we'll cover in this video are the low bar squat, the high bar squat, the front squat, the overhead squat, the Zercher squat, and the goblet squat. The first variation that we're going to be looking at is the high bar squat. This will often be the go-to version that people will think of when they think of back squats in the gym. Naturally, the bar will be high up on your neck and will put a high emphasis on almost all areas of your legs. If you could only have one exercise for your legs, I would recommend the high bar squat simply because it hits your legs in its entirety and will build balanced, strong, and powerful legs. Next up is going to be the low bar squat. Naturally, it'll go lower on your traps and more towards your rear delts. These are often favored by powerlifters as it allows more of a hinge-based movement, meaning they can recruit more muscles and hit a higher back squat. While it is great for raw strength, it is not as good for power, and athletes will often not be doing the low bar squat as there are better variations for hinge-based movements such as the deadlift and the power clean. Next up is going to be the front squat. These are hands down one of my favorite variations as it puts a high emphasis on the anterior chain and building up powerful legs. These are often favored by athletes as it allows you to load up heavy and go up powerful and strong. It also teaches your upper body to stabilize that weight as you go down and then back up again. The only real downside is that while it still obviously works the hamstrings and the glutes, it may not hit it as well as a back squat variation. Next up, we're going to be looking at the goblet squat. This will naturally be done with a dumbbell held between your hands. This is great for beginners and building up the strength if you are not strong enough to do a back squat with just the barbell yet. That being said, once you do build up the strength to use a barbell, it's way better in almost every way, easier to load, easier to hold, and overall, just a better movement in general. The next variation we're going to look at is the Zercher squat. The Zercher squat is definitely one of the lesser known versions of the squat. However, they're a very fun variation and puts the center of mass at a lower point, meaning your back has to work overtime to stabilize. The only problem is because of the way the barbell is held, you may not be limited by your leg strength, but simply by your stabilization in your upper body. It will also be harder if you do not have a squat pad as it will put a lot of pressure on your elbows. Finally, we're going to look at the overhead squat. Now these are a great variation if you're trying to build up your balance as well as your overhead stability. However, they definitely fall short when it comes to a squat variation. You simply won't be able to load as much weight as you're going to be limited by the fact that you have to be able to hold the weight over your head, and you can definitely squat more than you can overhead press. When it comes to ranking them, obviously they all serve different purposes, but in last place, I'm going to have to go with the goblet squat. After you move past the beginner phase and you can do your exercises with a barbell, it almost serves no purpose as the barbell will always be the superior version. In fifth place, I'm going to have to go with the overhead squat. While it can be good for overhead stability and strength, it definitely falls short as a squat since you won't be able to load it as heavy on the legs. In fourth place, I'm going to have to go with the Zercher squat. While it is a personal favorite of mine, I do have to recognize its shortcomings compared to the variations above it as the fact that you are often limited by your upper body stability. In third place, I'm going to have to go with the low bar squat. It's great for powerlifters, however, I do think it's more emphasis on the hinge and not as athletic for most people. It's a great variation for max strength and powerlifters, however I do think it has a little bit limitations on athletic carryover. In second place is going to be the front squat. Very underrated version of the squat and one that I think is very important for building up strong and powerful legs and overall stability throughout the entire body. Coming in at number one though is going to be the classic high bar squat. As I said before, if you can only do one leg exercise, I would recommend doing the back squat. Great way to hit your legs in its entirety, great for strength, great for hypertrophy, great for power, just overall top-notch exercise. That being said, these are all amazing exercises and you should pick whichever one fits your own training goals. And there we have it. If you found this video helpful, be sure to drop a like. If you've got any questions regarding anything you saw in this video, be sure to comment down below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. If you want to see more content like this, be sure to hit the subscribe button. And if you want your own program where I break everything down for you, be sure to check them out in the website, link in the description down below.